Hi, welcome. For anyone unfamiliar with me, I am Diana Rachel. I am the voice behind Spirited Witch, Practical Living for Spooky People. I am a tarot reader with 30 years of experience. I started reading for $2 for beer money in the 90s, and now I am where I am. So, for those that have an interest in a one on one session, I do have bookings available. And I have convocation coming this month, so I have a lot of interesting things that I will be talking about through the month on Substack and over on my Patreon. So, because this is the first reading of the month, typically what we do is I do this reading, and then every week I go over to my Patreon to do the 3-card draw that builds on this reading. And the 3-card draw and the follow-up write-up is open. The first one of the month is open to the public every month. We also have our tarot themed stuff coming up. So, yay. So y'all know about that. So, looks like we've got folks that are here that are ready to be here. And so I am going to go ahead and draw the card. And let's see what we've got this morning. So, looking for the card that's vibrating. So, here we go. So, the card for. Uh, Pardon my language, but you know how tarot just has this tendency to just state the obvious, and all you can do is look at it and go, no S Sherlock. This is a no S Sherlock card. It's like the I'm having a deep problem. And the tarot cards come back with, you're having a deep problem. You don't say, why do you think I'm talking to you? So because this one card draw is for the community in general, and this should be no surprise at all. I pulled the 10 of water inverted. This would be Fountain of Love in the Tarot of the Spirit. Go to tarotofthespirit.com. This is a fantastic deck full of symbolism. It will really help you learn tarot if that's what you're looking to do. But on the traditional Coleman Smith Rider-Waite deck, this would be 10 of Cups inverted. So that's the one where we've got the family waving, and they're looking over at this beautiful thing that they've built. And um, while reading inversions is not necessarily just an opposites day thing, sometimes it is. And it is just there's a lot of affection being lost right now. There is a lot of anger coming up. And so what I am seeing with this Fountain of Love inverted, with this 10 of Cups, 10 of Water inverted, is don't lose the love. The love is how we get through everything. The things we love, even those things we consider trivial, are how we sustain ourselves, how we give ourselves rest. Like the other day, I posted a pile of comic books because, yes, the stuff that I'm doing is serious. Yes, the organizing I am doing from my space with my injury is serious, but you need the frivolous to get through. The frivolous isn't just empty calories. The frivolous isn't sugary snacks. The frivolous is actually a form of nutrition. It's also, I'm not interpreting this as a reconnect with family you've disconnected from. I do have a bias there. But it is there is a temptation to say you don't deserve compassion. And I I stopped being a Christian a long time ago, but I still think that the Christians that didn't completely abuse the word didn't have the wrong idea about unconditional compassion. I have a devotion practice to the 21 Taras. Tara is a Buddhist goddess of infinite compassion. And what's interesting is if you ever look into the Taras, there's a lot of warriors there. There's a lot of people that will do some pretty harsh things because of the overall compassion and where compassion begins and ends. If you would like a more pop culture study that might be more accessible, this might be a good time to rewatch the Wonder Woman movies. Because one of the things that she keeps saying over and over in the movie that really focuses on her, and I think this is from 2019, 2020, was it's not about deserve. When you've got Fountain of Love inverted, you're getting to a place where you start thinking people don't deserve certain things. And they don't, but it gets a little too expansive. There's this psychological thing called the halo effect, where what somebody does is all good or all bad. And nothing is ever quite like that. Like, I'm open about being no contact with my family. And I have gone through the Duluth wheel and like highlighted, and it was basically glowing yellow. But that doesn't mean that there weren't moments where right was done. It's not all good and all bad, even when it is mostly bad. No matter who you are, you should be allowed to have housing. No matter who you are, you should have access to food. No matter who you are, you should have access to healthcare. And from that basis, everybody else needs to be held to the same damn standard. This is like what a democratic culture is supposed to be. And a lot of people really like their hierarchy. And that hierarchy is where we'd start deciding people don't need food or kids shouldn't be fed. So getting to that baseline standard. And then if you want to be hierarchical about stuff that doesn't affect people's ability to live, that's different. But for this one, Fountain of Love Inverted, it is that look into compassion while you are looking through your boundaries. It is a call for self-reflection. It is also a call for, how are you loving yourself? Or are you doing this from one of the things that gets brought up in activism a lot is you need to be doing it for yourself. You need to be doing it because you care about it. Caring about neighbors is a big one to me, especially since I was always kind of the family outcast. And so my relationships always had to happen outside of the home for anything that was like nourishing or emotionally developing at all. And so that we care about our neighbors, even if we don't know them that's meaningful to me. Is that meaningful to you? One of the things that I will donate to, I donate to libraries. Why? Because I am a heavy reader. And one of the places that I found that was safe was my local library. That was a safe place for me. That was a place where my parents couldn't act out in creepy ways because it was public and there were people that could hold them accountable. So I donate to libraries. I donate to museums. They were my safe places. They've enriched me. They've made me a better writer and artist. And it's also it does something for me. There are people who have had families suffer horrible diseases, so giving to that does something for them. Do it because it does something that feeds you. Don't do it just because you need to be seen as a good person. Because if you're there's usually a lot of wounds to lead to that needing to be seen, but there's a lot of things that go sideways when you dive into that need to be seen a certain way as well. So I guess the Fountain of Love Inverted is also, I'm looking at inversions as a call for introspection. So this is an introspection week. The full moon just passed yesterday. Happy Goramnika, happy Imbolc, happy Candlemas. I have not seen my local groundhog, and I suspect that here where I am in Michigan, the poor guy is just as confused as I am because this is Minnesota cold that I'm dealing with. And again, I lived in Minnesota for many, many years. And I got to remind people, global warming doesn't always look like people would assume it looks like. It means more weather extremes, not just hotter weather overall. So, hi, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for joining us. I was basically, and hi, Isla. Well, I think it's Isla or Ayla. Let me know. I do invite people so the card for this week is 10 of Cups inverted. So this is a Fountain of Love inverted. It's not typically a complete opposites day. I'm seeing the inversion this week as a call for introspection and a call for where your boundaries and compassion lie. So, for example, with my family, because my family, my spouse and I actually run our family on specific principles. So we talk about our house being a house of love, respect, and honor, where we come for compassion with everyone, but that compassion ends when giving compassion causes our family suffering. And we actually have a pretty far bar for where that would actually kick in. It's the giving a little, sharing a little is not suffering. But, suddenly us having to not have a place to live or having our coffers drained because somebody won't move out, which we have a whole story around this house with that. That's where our compassion ends, because especially when people have other choices or opportunities. So I was recommending, among other things, that people watch the Wonder Woman movies again, especially the one that focused on her exclusively, because she kept saying it's not about deserve, and we have to remind ourselves of our baseline. And Elizabeth is saying, sounds like a lot of tea spilled this week. Oh my gosh, and it's still spilling. So there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of disgust, and that's a lot to deal with. So again, turning to introspection, reminding yourself of your boundaries, not getting consumed by the hate and anger, because that will drain you. Part of the violence that's going on, the violence that is directed against the citizenry, is to get people worn out. And by allowing the tea to get spilled the way it's been getting spilled, people get up in their anger. When you are angry, you are more irrational. You are more like there is like a form of anger drunkenness. And the tricky part is anger drunkenness makes you think you're being very insightful and smart as you are just on a path to self-destruction. And so we need to be angry. You need to process that anger. You need to find healthy ways to do that. But you also need to go back to, what are my boundaries? What are my moral grounds? What is my modus of operation, and what social contract am I operating on? So this is also a good time to review the paradox of tolerance, where tolerance is not a rule or it's a social contract, not a social moray. It's not a social moral. And that contract is that tolerance is expected and allowed up to the point where someone is not tolerant of someone else's right to exist. And so that's the line. This has been the entire political line. It's the you're not allowed to exist versus hi, I exist anyway, and you're the one violating that contract. No, I'm not. These are the rules I just made up. Well, those are rules they're making up. This is a social contract. They didn't make that up. They didn't get a say in it. That's how it works. So Elizabeth's saying take breaks when you're just feeling crazed. Absolutely. And Alexis on Paradox of Tolerance is such a good thing to remember. I'm at the point where I'm thinking about just getting it tattooed on my chest. Like, I'm going to flash you and remind you. And, that'll break up an argument, possibly get me at least a misdemeanor, but it will break up an argument. I am joking about that. I do have tattoos, but I tend to keep them secret. So, but again, Fountain of Love inverted. And I am seeing this as a cause to introspect, a cause to nourish. It's just a time to step back and go, okay, there is so much to hate. There is so much that is horrible. Take breaks from it. Go find something that gives you hope. And if you can't find hope, find spite. If you can't have hope, have spite. Spite kind of does the same job. So tapping into that, even if it's this, I'm going to exist or I'm going to create something that just annoys the crap out of these people by continuing to be created, by continuing to be a voice. And that's what I've got for you today. Because this is the first reading of the month, I am going to be going over to my Patreon next. I usually start that reading at 10 a.m. And this is the time of month where the Patreon post will be open to the public. Also, so folks are aware of stuff going on, I am trying to set up a class schedule. So I will be releasing some polls because I am going to start teaching more classes either through lives or through pre-recorded videos on things like spell casting. And people have been begging me for Tarot 101, but the way I learned was so odd. I'm not sure I can translate it. I can try. But I am going to be setting up some classes and some more teaching PDFs. I think I'm going to be focusing more on spell casting and spell breaking in the next 6 months. Let me know what interests you. I have so many requests, it's going to take me years to get through all of them. Also, I do have tarot reading slots open for the month. I am about to change my booking system to one that's less janky. So if you do have problems using my current booking, and I will put my booking site in for now. If you try to book and you have issues with it, just DM me here or through my websites. And let me know, and I will just do it manually. And my expertise, what I am famous being very relative in my field, is doing curse diagnostics and curse breaking, but basically any of the usual tarot questions are things I'm good at, although I actually have spelled out dump him with the cards and something to clients because I don't know how to sugarcoat. It's just not in my DNA. So thank you so much for spending the time with me. I really do enjoy these Monday Lives. I love that people are participating more. I know that some folks will jump in and sometimes have their own insights or be pulling their own cards too to see what it says or expands on. And yeah, my cards have decided, my card has decided that her name is Helga. I'm not sure how that happened. And she is very, very political. and likes to scream dump the patriarchy, which is problematic when you're trying to sleep at night and she's sleeping in the same room as you. But that's a whole other set of issues. Life with animism. All right. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful morning, and I appreciate seeing you all. Happy Imbolc, happy Candlemas, happy Our Lady of the Thunder Candle Day. Stay magical, everyone.